Shalom, 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 my brothers and sisters of the nation of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Welcome to the end of the week Sabbath class. We are A.O.I, and we got Brother Ezekiel, Brother Benaiah, Brother Ananias, Brother Yakub online tonight. We welcome everybody for tuning in. We want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua for the abundance of all things, but allowing us all to make it through the week and to make it onto this call to be uplifted and edified in the spirit. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. And tonight's class is going to be taught by the mighty brother Ezekiel. And it's on you, King.
All right, thank you, bro. I want to thank everybody for joining the class tonight. But first of all, like the brother said, we want to give thanks to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua for allowing us to come on this class tonight and get edified. Tonight's the title of the class is Marriage as an Israelite. Marriage as an Israelite. And I picked that title because a lot of us are married, but we are married as the way Esau thinks we should be married. We go by what he thinks a marriage is instead of by what the Most High said marriage is. So we're going to go through this class. Hopefully everybody gets edified after this class. And we're going to start it off with Ecclesiasticus chapter 6, verse 7. Ecclesiasticus chapter 6, verse 7.
All right. The book of Ecclesiastes.
If any of you brothers got some precepts y'all want to bring out, like I always said, just feel free to bring them out.
The book of Ecclesiastes, Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 7. If thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty to credit him.
Right. And like we know, the Bible is written in masculine form. It says, if thou would have get a friend, prove him first. So, and that goes as far as you picking a marriage partner, male or female. You need to prove that person first. You just can't meet someone and feel that you like them after 2, 3, 4 days and want to marry them. You know how some people meet in Las Vegas and decide they want to elope and ain't knowing each other a good 24 hours. You have to prove that person. And it could take years, a year to a couple of years, 3 years, 4 years to prove someone. You just can't feel that you like this person and think that that person is worthy to marry. Because, you know, a person, you meet a person, a lot of times they don't show you who they really are when you first meet them. It takes a long time to actually get to know someone. You don't know a person in 2 months. You don't know a person in 3 months. You got to take time to get to know that person. But from now, let's go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. So, right, we can't forget that, take time. Don't be in such a rush. Some people be in a rush because they're looking for security. Or some people have kids and they looking for that father to be in those kids' life. So they'll mess around and jump to it as soon as they get the chance to hurry up and try to get married just to have somebody in the house. You still got to prove that person, because at the time you're trying to hurry up and marry that person to get him in the house with you, you don't know. He might be looking at your kids in a way that he shouldn't. And you've been made a great mistake. But let's get Genesis chapter 2 and verse 18.
The book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him.
Right, and that helpmeet is let's get the definition of helpmeet. It said, and the Lord said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet And that's what the wife is, a helpmeet. So we're gonna get that definition of helpmeet. It
Definitions of helpmeet: a helpful partner. Synonyms: helpmate, type of better half, married person, mate, partner, spouse, a person's partner in marriage.
you see that a person's partner in marriage. So that's what this helpmeet is that God created. He said, let us read what it says on helpmeet on Genesis 2, verse 18. Read that one more time.
Book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him.
Right. And that's what the wife is. She's a helpmeet. She's there to help her husband in anything. Anything he requires of her, she should be able to do it as far as a helper. You know, you've been at work, you worked all day. You know, it would be nice to have your wife when you get home to have your bath water ready, your food ready, the kids in order. That's a help me. You don't have to come home. You don't have to come home and cook. You know, she has to know her role as a help me. You don't need to come home from work and your wife is at the club. You know, you
That's
don't
right.
need to come home from work every day and 7 days out the week. There's nothing to eat when you come home from work.
Bring it out.
Neither should you be at the club when your wife come home. You know, but she's there to be a help me. A lot of people, a lot of women don't know what that is, and a lot of women want to know what that is. But she is a help me. But from there, let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and 4.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge.
They said marriage is honorable. Marriage is honorable. And nothing uh wrong with getting married. A lot of people you hear, especially look, God, man, I ain't never getting married. But the Most High said marriage is honorable in all, that the bed is undefiled, meaning when you marry, whatever is going on in your bedroom is between you and your wife, and it's not defiled because you have you are now married like the Most High uh commanded you to be. And it said, but whoremongers and adulterers will be judged. So, like, if you out there doing all the things that a married man or woman does, but you're not married, you will be judged. If you're married and you stepping outside of your relationship with your husband or your wife, you will be judged. A lot of people don't take those things seriously. A bunch of people don't take that stuff serious, but you will be judged. And like we all know, God does not lie. So we can take it for granted and think that what we doing in the dark will never come to light. But the Most High sees all, and He said, "You will be judged unless you repent." Have to remember that. But from that, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 through 11.
Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 4, verse 9. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up.
Read it one more
Again,
time.
so like the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4 and verse number 9. Two are better than one,
Two are better than one.
because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow.
Right.
But
And
woe to him that is alone when
right.
he falleth.
It said for if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. You know, so if you fall or your wife fall, y'all there to lift each other up. You know, it says, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he have no other to help him. You know, so it's a good thing because any married couple, when they see they partner or their spouse down, 9 times out of 10, if they in the living the way a Israelite married couple should be living, if that person see their spouse down, they're gonna do any and everything to help them get back to where they need to be. You know, anything. A person can be very, very down and out. And if they got their spouse in their corner, trying to bring them back to where they need to be, that's motivation for them. And you compare it to someone who don't have nobody, and they're down and out, and they're not in these scripts. You know, it's hard for them to pull themselves back up by themselves. A little motivation, especially from your spouse, that's a great deal to motivate you. Let you know you're not doing this alone. I got my wife in my corner. I got my husband in my corner. You know, so the script said, for if they fall, the one will lift them up. It says two are better than one. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth. So we have to think about that. Now, if you one of those people, like I said earlier, who up and jump the gun, you don't prove that person, you know, and you mess around and get somebody that you might not need to be with or shouldn't be with, he might not be like this person when it said to but when it said for he to have, that person might not be for, like when it said if you fall, the other one will pull you up, basically. If you mess around and not prove that person. If you don't prove, he might not try to pull you up. He might try to push you down farther than what you are already now. You know, it is a certain thing as a jealous spouse might not want to see you doing good. You know, some people, you got men that might get jealous because their wife make more money than them and hate that, you know. And you got women get mad if the husband making too much money. Sometimes that make her insecure.
Mm.
You know, a lot of times if you making too much money, well, you're not depending on her. A lot of times they don't like that because a lot of times if you depend on a woman too much, an evil woman will feel like she able to control you because you depend on her. But then you got some that uh the husband might depend on, and she might handle her business as a wife, and it's not an issue. You know, it just depends on that person. But from there, we're gonna go to uh Proverbs chapter 18, verse 22. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 22.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 18 and verse 2. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord.
Right. Whosoever find a wife find a good thing. So we have to, when we look at our wife, we have to look at her as such, man. Have to look at your wife as a good thing. You know, don't take her for granted. That's your wife. And like the Most High said, she is a good thing. And it's also this day and age, it's hard to find a good wife. It's hard to find a good husband. So when you find one, good wife, good husband, you got to cherish that person. You know, don't take that person for granted at all. A good wife, a good husband is a good thing. And it says, and obtain the favor of the Lord. See that? So that's what we want. That's what we looking for. A good wife. And if you don't already have one, uh, you should pray and ask the Lord, you know, to send you one. You know, because like I said, like we brought out earlier, it's not good for man to be alone, and there's a reason for that also. And we're gonna get into that a little while later. But right, it's a reason that men should not be alone. But
Go on. It's like you can. I'm gonna make a comment on that too. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it ain't good for a man to be alone.
right.
Thank you. Thank you, King. Yeah, it ain't good for brothers to be alone. It's good for a brother to have a mate, you know, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Since they have a brother. Because in this situation we'll be living in Babylon the Great, you know, it's rough. It's rough as hell, you know what I'm saying, for both of us. You know, so wife, uh, you know, father, the husband uplifted his wife the same way, you know, saying not submitting himself, but you know, saying being there for his wife, like you know, saying like Christ was for the church. So you know, saying it's a good thing that we be together in this society, man. You know, even though they push division and some of our people have their own agendas, but it's good that we be together in the society. You know, what I'm saying as a man and wife.
And you know, like you said, they push division. They got the black woman talking about she independent. So if you independent, basically they're pushing, okay, I just go out and deal people without being married, have children out of wedlock, because I'm independent. Nah, you need you a husband. You know? Ain't no shouldn't be wanting to bring these kids up, especially in today's society, without uh their husband and the wife being a married couple in the same household. We got to bring that back into our household. Because the more we keep having children, not being at home with children, father and mother not married, living across town from each other or in different states, these children gonna continue to be as monsters as we see every day. You know, it's hard to raise your son the right way when you two states open, or when you can be two cities open, and you talk to him once or twice a week on the phone for 4 5 minutes, if that much. You know, we failing our children like that. But
Can I bring out one more scripture, King?
yes, sir.
Slack you, fam. Slack you, fam. This is the
No
book of
problem.
First Corinthians. This is the book of First Corinthians, chapter 1 and verse 12. Excuse me, First Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 21. And the eye cannot say, let's go, I'm gonna start with verse 20. First Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 20. It says, He says, but now are there many members, yet but one body. It says, and the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of thee. So you can't say that, saying that you don't need your spouse because you're making this, saying, hey, I don't need you. You know how people say inside, I don't need you, I don't need you. Saying, yeah, you need a spouse. You need a wife. You need, wife, you need a husband. Because, hey, you work together in this society. Just like the other nations work together, we have to work together as a people. It says, verse 22, nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary. So even though they may not seem they're not necessary, or they're not, they might be feeble, or maybe a weaker part, but they are necessary. Everything play a part. Like you was going in earlier, it may be a brother or sister that may not be, making as much, vice versa, or maybe a spouse. Maybe the husband making more than the wife, vice versa. That don't mean that they play a lesser part. You still need that person. And that person can probably be in the house, in the garden, or taking care of the children. So you need each other. Let me read that one more time, verse 21 through 22. It says, and the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary. So it's necessary that these members come together. It's necessary that we need one another. We
Right.
don't play a little small part. We all together. We all strong together. All
Right.
necessary.
Right.
That, bro. Right. And when you find a husband and wife, you have to be making sure of this right here. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 14. When you find that husband or wife, you have to be sure of this right here. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14.
2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse number 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness?
Right. So
And
when you see that person and you in the truth, you got to make sure that person believe what you believe. You got to make sure that person knows he is Israelite or willing to learn and accept the fact that they are an Israelite. You can't walk around. You know you're an Israelite, but you want to marry this Muslim dude, or you an Israelite and you interested in this atheist. No, you can't do that. Y'all got to be equally yoked together on one accord. You can't be coming out on the Sabbath while your wife at the temple. Can I do that? Or vice versa. Um, I just seen Esau a Christian and the wife worshiping the devil, but they married. So you got to be equally yoked together, or it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. Let's get 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 5 through 7.
First Peter chapter 5, verse 3. Chapter 3 or chapter 5.
Chapter 3, verse 5 through 7.
First Peter chapter 3, verse 5 through 7. For after this manner, in the old time, the holy women, also trusting in God, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well. and are not afraid with any amazement. Verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered.
Right. It said, give honor unto the wife as the weaker vessel. We have to realize that she is the weaker vessel. She might go through emotions and she's not as strong as us. We cannot get upset with her for being that way. That's how she's made. Can't get upset with her. We have to realize she's the weaker vessel. We have to give that into account. A lot of things we can handle, she might not be able to handle. You know, she is the weaker vessel. We can't expect her to be as strong as us. You know, it's certain things that we can't expect her to do, but like I said, she's the weaker vessel. You can't expect her to be able to do everything you can do. You know, as a man, something going on in the house, a problem occurs, a mercy in the house, financial situation, stuff like that. 9 times out of 10, that man is gonna make a way everything straight, no matter what. Whereas sometimes a woman, she might panic in certain situations. That's just the way she's built. Not all the time, but sometimes. She's the weaker vessel. We are the stronger vessel. We are expected to make sure things at the end is okay. You can't put that on her all the time. You shouldn't expect that from her because she's just not built to handle certain situations. You know, sometimes they say a pressure bust pipe, and it'll it'll rattle the woman quicker than it'll rattle man. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And let's go to we're going to go to let's go to Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 33. Ephesians 5 and verse 33.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 33. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband.
Right. It said, love, nevertheless, let every one of you particularly so love his wife as himself. So they let you know right there just how important that the wife is. It says, love her as thyself. You know how you love yourself. So you should love your wife just as you love yourself. And it says, and the wife see that she reverence her husband, and that basically that she respects her husband. You got to love your wife as yourself, and she should respect you also at the same time. You know, you can't you can't look at her as though she's beneath you, even though we know the order, but it says nevertheless let every one of you in particular so love his wife even as himself, and we have to remember that. So some men they I've seen with some people they look at their spouse, and just treat them so bad to it lowers their self-esteem. You know, we're not married to just belittle our wife. Scripture said we have to love them as we love ourselves. Have to remember that. So from there, let's go to from there. Let's go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 18. This is what a lot of women have a problem with doing in a marriage. Colossians chapter 3, verse 18.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3, and verse 18. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as is fit in the Lord.
Right. It says submit yourself to your own husband. You know, as long as he ain't telling you to go outside these scriptures to evil, you should submit yourself to your husband. You know, a lot of women don't like to do that. A lot of women, you tell them to do something, they want to get loud and argue, buck up against what you're saying. But you gonna go ahead and bring it out.
All right. Submit is a verb to accept or yield to a superior force or to the authority or will of another person. To give in, to yield, to give away, to back down, to cave in, to bow, to capitulate, defer, agree, consent, accede, conform, comply, accept, surrender, humble oneself. All definitions or synonyms for what submit is.
Right.
Or subject to a particular process, treatment, or condition.
And you know, we see a lot of Israelite nations. That's what they women do. But the Israelite woman, a lot of times, a lot of them they can't do that. It's hard for them to do that. But that is what is required. Wives, submit yourself unto your own husband as is fit in the Lord. Meaning, uh, that's what the Most High wants to see. Is fit in the Lord. A lot of times we say something, tell you to do something, they want to buck up against what you say. As if though they just can't take orders from you. But at the same time, like we talked about before, they'll be at the job and the white boss man said do something, it's yes sir. It ain't no why or ain't none of it. It's yes sir. So that's what we gotta get back to, you know. So let's
You're
get
right, King.
go ahead, brother.
Slack you, brother. Slack
Hmm?
you, man. You're right, bro. Saying like you gotta do the same thing that you do for Esau, that job that you do for your husband at home, you know. Because if your brother out there, if he at the job taking crap from Esau, he don't want him to come home and take crap from you too, you know. So the same reference and the same respect you give Esau and the other nations, give that same respect to your husband because he do that. Because any brother gonna put his life on the line for you day by day, you owe that brother that, you know. Because ain't no other man gonna protect you like your man will, you know.
Right.
Through the snow, through the storm, thick and thin, whatever tragedy, he gonna be there. So yeah, you gotta give the same respect to your husband as you give these other nations, these heathens. It's like a kid.
No problem. Good point. And also let's bring out Titus chapter 2, verse 5 to go along with what we're talking about right now.
Book of Titus, chapter 2 and verse 5. To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed.
Right, cause this is going to where it said the sisters should be teaching the young women. So if the sisters are teaching the young women, that means that's something that they have learned to teach to the young women. So you have to also go by this also. you know, to be discreet. He was at home, good, obedient to their own husband. And there's nothing wrong with it. A lot of might tell us, you do everything he say. Okay, I supposed to. You supposed to. And 9 times out of 10, that sister that telling you that is jealous because she sees something going on in your household that she don't got going on in her household. And she want the same thing that you got going on in your household to be going on in her household.
Bring it out.
Instead of you telling, instead of her telling you that you and your family doing a good job as a unit, she'll try to throw that shade on, make you feel uncomfortable by doing what you're supposed to be doing. But when you're doing what your husband asks you to do, you're doing a good thing. And he gonna let you know it. You gonna see it. You gonna enjoy doing what your husband asks you. Cause if he in the truth, he gonna treat you like you should be treated. You gonna enjoy doing it. You know. Bring out that that chart and scroll down to it say what is the divorce rate, the divorce rate by ethnicity. On down. It's gonna be when that green line get farther up, about 3/4 of the way. There it is right now. Okay. Different studies show that African American women are more likely to get divorced than women of other races. Sociologists suggest that it may be because of lower income and, and job prospects. Roll up a little bit. You see that? It says the Hispanic divorce rate is 18.5. Esau, 15.1. Asian, 12.4. Black, African American, 30.8 divorce rate.
Hmm.
30.8. These are the divorce rates of each ethnicity of 2018 per 1,000.
Now, brother, if you look at that chart, looking at that chart, you know, we the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we make up the children of Israel. So when you
Right.
add both of those together, that's roughly 48, 49%.
Right.
You know.
Compared to the other two, like what, 17.5. I mean 27.5.
Okay.
Hmm.
That's a big difference. And that ain't even including the rest of the nation. So we got work to do. It says black adults have the highest divorce rate and the lowest marriage rate. The highest divorce rate and the lowest marriage rate, according to research. And it said black women are the only group amongst other races with the number of divorces higher than marriage. That's back in 2018. There were 31 divorces. There were 31 divorces among the black population and 17.3 marriages per 1,000 people.
Wow.
17
And damn near half amount of marriages going on and double the size or double the amount of divorces.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why do you think that happens? Why do we think that happens? Let me play a quick video right quick, King, just
Yes,
to
sir.
show exactly why that number's so high.
Okay.
It's not by coincidence. It's not let me see, just by sheer luck, or it's by design. Let me see if it's on screen. All right. Make sure the volume up. Now that's MLK on the screen for those who don't know. But pay attention to the words that are being spoken.
Fathers have left home in order for their children to get meat and bread. There are so many dehumanizing elements in the welfare system that we are concerned about removing. Ultimately, we are concerned about a guaranteed annual income. And the other thing I think it is very necessary to say is that everybody's on welfare in this country. And when it comes to black people and poor people, we just call it something else. When it's for white people and rich, we call it subsidies.
It's no secret, fatherless households are more common in the Black community. A survey from the American Consensus Institution revealed that 67% of Black children under 18 in the US live in homes without fathers. This is a stark contrast to white children, as only 24% of them live in fatherless homes. But it wasn't always like that. The Black families survived generations of open racism, widespread poverty, and slavery. They lived through segregation and violence, and strong family bonds used to be the norm.
As of 1960, 2/3 of all Black American children were living with both parents. That declined over the years until only 1/3 were living with both parents in 1995. So it's not the legacy of slavery that destroys the African American family.
It's the legacy of the welfare state.
Between 1890 and 1950, the marriage rate was much higher among Black women than white women.
Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm. Much higher among Black women than white women.
Welfare state.
Between 1890 and 1950, the marriage
1890 to 1950. That's a span of what, 60 years?
rate was much higher among Black women than white women. A fraction of Black children lived in homes without their fathers. But everything changed with the expansion of the welfare state.
There is the answer as to why the decline of the Black marriage is so high. Listen to it again.
The African American
It's the legacy of the welfare state.
Between 1890 and 1950, the marriage rate was much higher among Black women than white women. A fraction of Black children lived in homes without their fathers. But everything changed with the expansion of the welfare state. It divided the household and created a dependency on welfare. This kind of reminds me of what President Reagan said.
I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language
Listen to what this man said. Who is the president?
are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
So, what happened? What's the mechanism? Here is a detailed look at how the welfare state played a role in the dissolving of the family structure over the years. People say that the breakdown of traditional family units, family structures, is a byproduct of Black poverty, not just because there is no man to support the family financially, but also because women tend to earn less than men on average. Of course, the connection between the two is there, but it goes deeper than that. Welfare was a mean little business. It was designed to get people by in a pinch. Public assistance programs, like welfare entitlements, have been a part of American culture since the 1940s. Unfortunately, like in many other aspects of government institutions, Black Americans were left out. In time, Black people could also get financial support, but it wasn't easy. Mothers who applied for checks had to let social workers inspect their homes to see if their conditions were suitable for welfare. These workers also had to make sure no man was living in the house. But even if they qualified for support, the amount they received was meager and not enough to build a stable life. In the early 1960s, welfare was not yet common, even in the most impoverished Black communities. In the decade that followed, the number of Black people on welfare went up by 169%.
169%. That lets you know there's some wickedness going on in the mix. But I ain't gonna play no more of the video. You want to look into it, feel free to look into it. But I do want to pull out one precept, then I'll hand it back to you, King.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me go to the book of Second Ezra right quick. Bear with me. Second Ezra chapter 8, verse 27. And it reads, regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies and afflictions. So this was Ezra talking to the Most High or praying, and he was saying, don't be concerned. Well, regard not the wicked inventions, because the way that they took us or separated our families, destroyed the black marriage, was through wicked and crafty counsel, wicked inventions, such things as welfare. You know, if the video would have played out, it would have went into how it was called welfare when it was dealing with our people, but when it was dealing with Esau, it was called subsidy. You know what I'm saying? That's what the difference in the terms that they use today. Still a form of government taking care of the people, but when it came down to us, it was called welfare, where they made sure that the man was not in the household and eventually dividing the household, destroying his image because he was not there, and allowing the woman to become so dependent upon the government, you know. So that in itself would create a divide between our brothers and sisters for what? A paycheck or for some type of well-being or living. So all the different wicked inventions that the other nations, mainly Esau, came up with were used to divide us. Not only through slavery and captivity, but here in this society, they used every level of labor to divide us. And welfare was one of the main ones that separated us as a people. As you've seen in that video, it said from 1890 to 1950, we had more marriages than the so-called white women, or black women was being married more than the so-called white women. But in today's society, what did the stats say? That the black women are the only group among other races with a number of divorces higher than the marriage rates. You know what I'm saying? So they being divorced way more than they actually get married, which is crazy. I don't even know how they come up with that stat, but I just wanted to bring that out right quick. So you can.
Yeah, and also that video what you showed, as far as getting that government assistance, Esau had been getting it, but we had been getting it. Choir,
Right.
they went coming up in Esau house trying to see was the man in the house before they received that government assistance. It was okay for the man to be in the house and they still received the government assistance at the same time. When we started getting it, they want the man to pack his stuff and get his own, so they can send a loaf of bread and some cheese to the rest of the family. Meanwhile, you got to get out the house just for a loaf of bread and some cheese.
Wow.
Why not say, as a unit, we gonna help y'all out. You don't have to leave. We gonna help you and you, your wife, your kids out. That's called crafty counsel. Because it's like the brother brought out that it was more black families, more black women being married than white women. You think they didn't see that? They saw that and they came up with some crafty counsel to flip the script, to reverse what was going on. They reversed the black women from being married, and now they're not being married. That's what you call crafty counsel. But yeah, let's go to Matthew 19, chapter 2, verse 9. Because we're gonna see when should you get a divorce. When should you get a divorce? Because nowadays we get a divorce because you caught a cold from your wife gave you a cold and you won't leave. You don't want nothing else to do with her now because she gave you a cold. But we can't leave just for little simple stuff like that. Let's get Matthew chapter 19 and verse 2.
Matthew chapter 9.
2 through 9.
All right, 2 through 9. Matthew chapter 19 and verse 2. And great multitudes followed him, and he healed them there. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him, and saying to him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said unto them, Have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Wherefore there are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder.
Right. Let no man put what God had joined together. Let no man put that asunder. Read 7.
Verse 7. They say unto him, Why did Moses then command to give a reading Salakia? Let me read that over. Verse 7. They say unto him, Why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? He said unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. But from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be fornication,
Except
and
for
shall
who?
marry, except it be for fornication,
Read.
and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whosoever married her which is put away doth commit adultery.
Right. So if only way you can put your wife away is for fornication. And if you put her away and it wasn't for fornication and you marry somebody else, that means you commit adultery. So if you divorce your wife because let's say if you divorce your wife for anything else, I say besides fornication, and you decide to marry somebody else, if you divorce your wife for anything besides fornication, and you decide, like the white man said, okay, it's okay for you to divorce her, and you get remarried, according to the Bible, you commit fornication. If she did not commit, you commit adultery. If she did not commit fornication and you got divorced for something else and remarried, according to the scripture, you commit fornication. And whoso married her, which is put away, does commit adultery. So whoever she married, it could commit adultery also.
Right.
So
That's right.
that's the only way it is lawful for you to put away your wife is for fornication. That's when you should get a divorce. Not
That's right.
because she gave you a cold in your throat, so and you pissed off because you can't go to work. Can't get no divorce for that. But from there, let's go to uh Mark chapter 10, verse 6 through 9.
Call it out again.
Mark chapter 10, verse 6 through 9.
The book of Mark, chapter 10, verse 6 through 9. But from the beginning of the creation, God made them male and female. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they twine shall be one flesh. So then they are no more twine, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder.
Right. We just read the same thing basically in another verse, but basically what it said with God had joined together, let no man put us on, let no man take apart what he had put together. So if the Most High put it together, it need to stick together, stay together, like glue. Unless, like I said, one of the that act of adultery. You know, it shouldn't be no such thing as somebody being married 3 and 4 times, unless that spouse have been deceased, have died. You know, what we have to realize, it takes effort, and when you're married, it takes effort. Uh, Sometimes, you know, like I said, a person will have to. Sometimes it's not your way or the highway all the time. I'm just from my experience. It's not your way or the highway all the time. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes a person in a relationship, a marriage relationship, sometimes you don't want to be in a house where you and your spouse is so heated at each other to get to the point where you're not speaking, walk straight past each other. You don't want to be living in a house like that. A lot of times, husband or wife, a lot of times we have to look at it, you know, a lot of times you have to swallow your pride. A lot of times, uh, you might feel in a situation that you right, and both of you all know how stubborn one another are. Sometimes somebody got to take upon themselves to be the big person and, uh, okay, I'm gonna go. Whatever going on, I'm gonna make peace of the situation. Not because I'm wrong, but it's just because I don't want to be living like this. Uh, Angry, upset with my spouse. Gonna bring something out, brother?
Yeah, just going back to Mark chapter 10, verse 9, it said, what therefore Yahweh have joined together, let no man put asunder. So asunder, that word means to be into parts or apart from each other. You know, just to get some synonyms for it right quick. Apart, peacefully. Really didn't give too many. But like it was saying in the scripture, with the Lord have joined together, let no man put apart, separate. You know what I'm saying? And that goes from what the TV present to you, what you see in these movies, you know, what you hear in the music, you know, what you see in society. Don't let those things play in between your ears, basically. You know what I'm saying? And have you looking at your partner sideways. You watching a movie and you see this guy, he goes and he lays out roses from the garage all the way to the bedroom into the bathroom to a damn tub full of with a bubble bath in it. You seeing it in the movie as a sister, you watching that and you like, well, why my guy never did that? He must not love me. Nah, don't be confused and caught up with the ways of this world trying to live something that you see in a movie. Same thing with the fellas. You know, you seeing what's in the movie, you seeing this woman is saying this, she's doing this and doing all of that is a movie. It's a facade. You know what I'm saying? Some will do, but you know what I'm saying? You're trying to live your life to a standard of what you see on TV or what they present to you, which is the complete opposite of what the Lord wants you to do. You know what I'm saying? You want the man that just got the chiseled body, you know what I'm saying, because that's what you see on TV. Or the man, he want the woman with the hourglass body because that's what's presented to him. And I was speaking about this the other day. If you actually go back and just view how we were in history back in the day, you know what I'm saying, our women dressed modestly. So you wouldn't see an hour-shaped glass. Therefore, she wouldn't be living a life trying to make sure that her rear end was her main attribute. You know what I'm saying? Because that wasn't being shown. But because here in this perverse society, that's what they present as the standard. And men want a woman with a big butt because that's what's presented on TV. So a lot of women try to pose for that image. And the man go looking for that, you know, but it ends up pulling relationships apart. You ain't got this, and that's what I was looking for. Or you ain't being romantic like I seen in this movie. you don't say the things that I heard on this show or that show, and it tends to set things or separate, divide relationship. So the scripture just going into what the Most High have joined, let no man put that in asunder or tear that apart. But that's all I want to bring up.
Thank you, brother. Right.
Like, can I?
Go ahead, bro. Yes, sir.
I apologize, King.
No problem.
Yeah, man. You know, a lot of divorces, a lot of separations come from the heathen nations giving us certain things, certain gifts, and just like we were going over earlier, like at the job, you know, certain people may make a little bit more. Go to government assistance. You know, Esau may give Eve, you know, some government assistance that may help her out, and she feel like, hey, I don't need you. Because we know in this society, you know, you get sisters now that they get kids just to divorce. I mean, just to separate from Jake. She'll have kids just to get those benefits. You know what I'm saying? And that'll cause some type of form of separation too. You know, y'all might have got a kid outside of, you know, ceremonial marriage, but you was married, not knowing these scriptures, but you end up leaving a brother because, hey, I don't need you. You know what I'm saying? I got these kids in my life. You know, let me bring this out. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 23, and verse 8. And thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise, and perverteth the words of the righteous. So certain gifts, it blinded the wise. You know what I'm saying? So you shouldn't take any gifts that's going to deter you from what the Lord had did. The Lord had told you to do. And the Lord told families to be together, husband and wife. So if you thinking that certain welfare programs, you know, because you got a raise and a super duper bonus on the job, now you can leave your husband because you don't need him no more. You know what I'm saying? That's going to divide and separate you as a family. You know? Let me read it one more time. Thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. So, you know what I'm saying? It's going to blind you. It's going to cause you to go off. And it's going to cause the kids to be separated from their family. You know? So, you know what I'm saying? Don't be so quick to take these gifts and different things into well the society give you, you know.
Good point, bro. And like it said, what therefore God have joined together, let no man put asunder. But some of us are joined to the wrong people. Some of us are joined outside of our nation. So that don't apply to you. You're joined to the wrong person. So let's bring out Joshua chapter 23, verse 11 and verse 13. Because some of us are joined to the wrong nation. Yeah, to the Most High.
The book of Joshua, chapter 23, verse 11. Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God. Else, if ye do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go in unto them, and they to you, know for a certainty that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you,
They
and
shall be.
scourges, snares and traps unto you,
That's
and
why.
scourges.
That's why we're not supposed to deal with them. They are snares and traps. Read.
And scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until ye perish from off this good land which the Lord your God hath given you.
So I just wanted to bring that out because we're not supposed to be marrying these other nations. That's not good. We are not to deal with them in that way at all. And it might be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of us to might be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of us. But that's just what it is. We are not to deal with those other nations. We are not to deal with those other nations.
That's right.
And let's get Genesis chapter 20, verse 1 through 4.
Call that again.
Genesis chapter 24, verse 1 through 4. And this is in Genesis, which means the beginning. To let us know that this is not something new. It's been since the beginning about us dealing with the other nations. Genesis chapter 24, verse 1 through 4.
Book of Genesis, chapter 24 and verse 1. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of the earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto the sons of the daughters of the Canaanites,
Right,
among whom I dwell.
right. So he was dwelling there in Canaan, but he didn't want his son to take a wife of the didn't want his son to take a daughter of the Canaanites. Read.
Verse 4. But thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred,
Go back to
and
my
take,
he won't he said go back to my country and my people. Read.
but thou shalt go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac.
Right. So he want his son to marry someone of his own people. Because he knew what the law was. So this is from the beginning. And ain't nothing changed until this day. We got to marry our own people. Because like we read a few seconds ago, they will become snares and traps. Ask Tiger Woods. Ask OJ.
Mm.
Snares and traps. You know?
Ex Tiger Wood had a 9 iron feeling back.
Right. Man. Ask the dude who played on Creed, whatever his name is. Ask him about the snare and trap.
Jonathan Majors.
Right. Ask him.
Bring it out.
So we got to remember that. So from now let's go to okay. We're gonna bring out Proverbs chapter 21, verse 19. Cause now we're gonna go into that sister who constantly is on her husband's back, constantly giving him a hard time. Always complaining. Let's get Proverbs chapter 21 and 19. Because a lot of times that will run a man away. All that nasty and stuff like that. And vice versa. But we're gonna go with Proverbs 21, verse 19.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 19. It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman.
Right. It says better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman. And you know, black women, y'all do have a reputation amongst all the nations as being, angry. Sometimes in some situations you are, but you have to realize when it comes down, we don't inside this household, the house inside the house, we as men we don't need all that, you know, constantly. That will wear a man out. And it says, read it one more time, brother. Proverbs 21:19.
It is
You got
better
your
to
mic. You
dwell
got
in the
your
wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman.
Right. Let's get Proverbs 25 and 24. We almost finished. Proverbs 25, 24.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 25, verse 24. It is better to dwell in the corner of a housetop than with a brawling woman and in a wide house.
Right. It is better to dwell in a corner of a housetop, meaning the roof, than with a brawling woman and in a wide house. You know, the Most High know how stressful that is for us. But he know. But women, if you that type of woman, you need to check yourself and try to make it a little easier for him. And the husband also. But, this right here is something we have to do in order to avoid sin, to stay out of sin. You know, let's get chapter 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and I'm gonna read 1 all the way through 9.
First Corinthians chapter 7 and verse number 1. Now concerning the things whereof you wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto her to the husband. The wife have not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband have not power of his own body, but the wife. Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and to prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. Verse 6. But I speak this by permission and not commandment, not of commandment. For I would have, Salak, verse 7. For I would that all men were even as myself, but every man hath his proper gift of God, one after this manner, and another after that. I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as I. But if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn.
See that he said, let them, he said, I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them to abide as I, meaning abstain. And said, but if they cannot contain, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn, meaning the consequences of participating in that type of situation without being married. And also, because that's what's going to happen if you continue to do that. If you're constantly in fornication, you will burn. He said it is better to marry than to burn. Also, you have to remember, some people might not want to bring this out, but I'm bringing it out one more time. We just read it. It said, let the husband render to his wife do benevolence, and likewise also wife unto the husband. The wife has not power over her own body, but the husband. And likewise, the husband have not power over his own body, but the wife. And when you read that, you have to realize that if we go by that, that's a good thing. I'm gonna say it as easy as I can say it, because if in those situations, you know, we know it comes with marriage, and uh, you cannot constantly reject him or her in a marriage when it comes to those situations. You know, because if you do that all the time, you know, that will cause him or her, the husband, other, or the wife, it could put spirits on them to step outside, and we don't want that. But defraud ye not one another. That's what we have to remember not to do.
Come.
Trying to say the best way I can. But defraud ye not one another. We have to remember that. That's very important on both ends. If y'all get what I'm saying. I'm gonna bring out this one more scripture, and let's bring it out Jeremiah 29 and verse 6.
Call that again.
Jeremiah 29 verse 6.
Verse 6.
Yes, sir.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 29 and verse 6. Take ye wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives of your sons, for your sons, Salakia, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there, and not diminished.
It said that ye may be increased and not diminished. So that's what we have to do. We want to be increased and not diminished. Now let's bring out, got that clip, the other, right.
All right. The power of the two-parent home. Is there any particular place you want to start at?
Start at the start right there.
All right. Humanly speaking, there is nothing more important for personal well-being, positive social behavior, and general success in life than being raised by one's biological parents, committed to each other in a stable marriage. Over the past 40 years, a vast body of research has demonstrated conclusively that children are deeply affected by family structure and that married parents are best for children. Any efforts, whether governmental, educational, or ecclesiastical, that mean to encourage human flourishing must take this reality into account as both an explanation for many social ills and as means to the end of hope for societal health and vitality.
Stop right there for 1 second. It said in the script we just read, it said that they may bear sons and daughters. But you don't want to bear sons and daughters without being married. That's why I read that and then brought this out. It says bear sons and daughters, but at the same time, he wants us to be married and bringing out the benefits of two-parent households right here. So scroll down to where you start, you can continue reading.
Okay. All right. Not a myth. Family life in America has changed dramatically in a relatively short period of time. In 1960, 73% of children lived with two parents in their first marriage. By 2014, less than half, 46% of children were living in this type of family. Conversely, the percentage of children living with a single parent rose from 9% to 9 in 1960 to 26% in 2014. An additional 7% of children now live with cohabitating parents. Moreover, the increase in non-traditional family arrangements has coincided with the decoupling of marriage and childbearing. In 1960, just 5% of all births occurred outside of marriage. By 2000, around 40% of all births occurred outside of marriage. A percentage that has held. Say that again.
So they say 40% of all births occur outside of marriage. Go ahead and finish.
All right. A percentage that has held steady over the last 20 years. As of 2014, 29% of births to white women, 53 of births to Hispanic women, and 71% of births to black women were out of wedlock. In the span of only 60 years, what were once considered exceptional family circumstances have become the norm.
That's it on it. It said what was once considered exceptional for family circumstances have become the norm. You know, so it ain't surprising no more. It's not surprising. So us as Israelites, we got to get back on the right track. We got to again start trying to build those marriages up. We got to start proving one another before we get married. If you 9 times out of 10, if you prove this person, you're not gonna end up in divorce because you took the time, the recommended time to get to know one another before you took it to the next level. Also, like we read earlier, that 2-parent household is very beneficial for the children. It's a big difference. They tend to do better than schooling. You know, the daughter get to grow up in the household and see how a wife is supposed to be treated because she's with her daddy. She know how a wife is supposed to treat the husband because she's looking at her mother. She's not gonna accept nothing less than her father when she's looking for that. And if you like one of those kids who growing up in a bad household, see the mama, man, the man, or the dad, the woman, that's what they gonna do. You are a product of your environment. And if that's what you're gonna see, that's what you're gonna if that's what you're seeing all the time, that's what you think, that's what you're gonna think is normal. So if that's all I have on class, unless anyone wanna bring something out before we
Yeah, I
go.
just you know, Slack. You know, like I think it was Hitler that said it. He might not have said it, but said something to the effect of when dealing with propaganda, if you tell a lie big enough, long enough, it becomes the truth. You know what I'm saying? So in today's society, what they teach on the TV and through the media is what they promote to our people, and then they think it or deem it to be the truth when it's the complete opposite. But they've been hearing it for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, a lot of men hear this phrase when you get ready to get married or thinking about doing it. You know, man, you getting ready to turn in your player card or whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? You getting ready to attach the old ball and chain. You know what I'm saying? They start pitching the negative at not aspect, but the sayings. They start throwing that at you immediately when you start talking about, you know what, I want to get married. You know, they want to deem you, you know what I'm saying, you getting ready to fall off. You getting ready to, that's the end of you know what I'm saying? It's the end of life for this brother or that sister, you know what I'm saying? Because the same narrative that's been pushed, it's not promoting marriage, it's discouraging a brother or a sister from, mainly the brother, it's discouraging them from being married, you know what I'm saying? Because of the propaganda that's being spoken. So we got to be mindful of those things. And let me go to Colossians chapter 2, verse 8 right quick. Classic precept that we bring out most of the time, we be talking about feast days or holidays, pagan holidays concerning this scripture. But when you read Colossians 2 and 8, let me get that on the screen for you.
I got
All right.
Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ.
You see that? And the Lord say, beware. Don't let no man spoil you, destroy you through philosophy. Philosophy is ways of thinking. In vain deceit, meaning lies. The things that we have heard throughout time, we keep spewing the same things in a repetitive circle. We keep spewing that out. You know what I'm saying? You see it in the movies, you see it in the TV shows. He want to sell it. He hanging up his cleats. He turning in his player card. All that. You know what I'm saying? Which is negative. You know what I'm saying? You promoting him being a player for one, being out there sleeping around, being a whoremonger. But then when he decide, you know what, I want to do right, I want to marry this woman. Now it's he hanging up his card. He attaching the ball in the chain, you know. Or on the woman's side, you know, they got the negative aspect as well, you know. You can do bad by yourself. You don't need that. You don't need no man. All this and that. Beware of philosophy and vain deceit. I mean, it's a lot of other things that I can go into, but it just spurred a moment bringing this out to our brothers and sisters, letting them know that these different philosophies and vain deceit, propaganda, and detour our brothers and sisters from getting married. Therefore, that's why you see the rates that we seen in the charts that the brother brought out earlier about the high divorce rate or the low marriage rate, you know, or what it said in the article, children being born from 5% back in 2000, where it enrolls up to 40 to 50 to 60%. You know what I'm saying? In a short time span. I think it said from 2000 to 2014. From 1960 to 2014. But basically, you got kids being born outside of marriage. So everybody just out basically having a good time and end up getting married or getting pregnant or having kids, but never really intending to marry that person. So because of the mindset or the philosophy of this society, everybody's doing what they see on TV. Go out, get you a guy that pay your power bill, that cuts your grass, that you know, he give you money. This one do that, this one do that. The man looking for the woman that she got the nice body or she got the money. You know, he out doing this and doing that. The woman doing the same thing the man do. Nobody's looking for marriage. Nobody's looking to build from the ground. They just looking to get out there, have a good time, get their rocks off, and end up having children outside of the marriage. And because of the message being pushed in society, you see the rates of the births outside of marriage skyrocketing. But that's all I had.
Thank you, brother. Anybody else got anything out to bring up? If not, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in for another Sabbath class. We are A.O.I, and I am Brother Ezekiel.
Brother Ananias.
Brother Benaiah.
Brother Yakub.
And we'll see you guys next Saturday on another Sabbath class. Thanks for joining in. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.